Captain's Log, Episode 96. This episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. Home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. Captain, Huck, Beer Wonder, and Cider Girl return to California for an epic 6-pour show. We finish up in Fresno, and then the captain heads south to Lake Elsinore for beer, karaoke, and more. Actually, it's mostly beer and karaoke, but on the eve of a snowstorm in New York City, lounging in the sun feels like more on its own. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 96, California Quaffin.
Oh, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the beer Vengers.
Welcome to the Beercast. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the city of Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the county of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And coming to you from a place where they make raisins, it is I, Cider Girl.
And we are
The
Beer
Vengers. Why?
Za.
It's called tradition.
It is. Oh, I thought you wanted to end it with a Y instead of a Z. I thought that's what that was about.
Beer Vengery.
Welcome to the Beercast, all the Beer Vengers out there, as you noticed already, Cider Girl is back for another episode because this is a part 2. So if you didn't listen to part 1, download that one or stick around. I don't think you necessarily need the continuity, but it does make it even more fun. So, but no, stick around, listen to this one, or if you could listen to them in backwards order, like Memento.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's high concept. That's very high concept.
Yeah, it might be.
So,
yeah,
does that mean they need to get super drunk and then start at the end and then become less drunk as they listen to the podcast and then they're sober by the end?
I mean, if they were literally doing it backwards in time, that is how it would work. But I think if you try that, I think you'd need some kind of a special doctor to really.
Okay, so that's not recommended. All right, good to know.
Well, don't take medical advice from a Beer Venger. I feel like we don't really have. Do we have anyone in the Beer Venger sphere who is qualified to dispense medical advice?
Cider Girl has CPR certification.
Okay, there you go.
That might be as close as we're gonna get.
Okay.
Oh,
the Beer Venger verse, or like other Beer
The Beer Venger verse. Well, I mean, in this room, I think the answer is no. Sorry, Cider Girl. But I'm trying to think in our sphere of influence, in the people who have come and gone within the Beer Venger universe. Do we have anyone who's a doctor or a nurse?
Well, we almost had Charles for a little while. He was a podiatrist.
Oh, okay.
But he's long
The
gone.
other Jason from Grayview is a physical therapist.
There you go.
Okay. So
now
that's closer.
I also think to really replicate that movie, we'd have to get head injuries too, and I don't know if I'd like that.
Oh gosh, that sounds expensive.
Yeah. So just try and replicate that with copious alcohol. Not that we recommend, drink in moderation, except when you don't.
Speaking of which.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
We're being very moderate now because we haven't even had the pours. Thank you for that wonderful transition, Huck.
Nice job, Huck. 10 points.
Yes. Or are we on After Midnight now?
I don't know what.
Shout out to After Midnight. I'm so glad it's back, and I love that show.
But we,
okay, not just me.
I'm just
I'm-
honestly, I'm trying to figure out how we do this
yeah,
it's a part-
right.
because it's a part 2.
No,
Yeah.
I
So,
think
like-
we could still allow Cider Girl to go first. Maybe she could
we-
like wait for the rest of us this time.
We could go backwards.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Oh,
not a
it's-
bad idea. Captain, are you ready to open a
I
beer?
think that would make sense. Okay,
I-
Memento style.
well, actually,
Yeah.
I think if we're
I
going
like
backwards,
it. Oh, this
I
is
mean,
good.
if we're really going backwards from last week, I think it's actually Beer Wonder's turn to start.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, it does actually. I believe it does begin with me then. If we're going backwards,
because we were hitting with all the California themed stuff first, and then you hit us with
Sweden.
with Sweden. Yeah, so,
Sweden.
Sweden.
I mean, it's like California. It's like kind of curved. It has coastline.
No.
Anyway, regardless of all of that, tonight I will be drinking an absolutely delicious.
Sponsored pour.
a sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective at the 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I tend to think, as one of our younger beer ventures, I tend to bring some of the cuteness factor at times. I don't know all the slang. I also don't know all the slang that the kids have these days. So this beer feels like it really kind of encapsulates all of me. It's from our friends at Little House Brewing Company, and it's called "Fine, We're Fucking Adorable." And just look at that! Look how adorable that is!
very
Isn't
cute,
it
very cute
adorable?
indeed,
Oh, it's got a
Wow.
It's got a rainbow. It's shiny. It's adorable. Like
Fucking
the pup.
adorable.
That's fucking adorable.
Yes.
Fucking
We're earning our rating
adorable.
this week.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So let's see what's going on here. Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah, my dude.
Yeah.
Everything about that. Yeah. I think we may need to turn fucking adorable into a soundbite. That feels like it
We
could
could
be
do that,
useful.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. It's triple
Look at
IPA. So
Oh, hello.
it's doing its job.
Oh, it's got that thick orange juice look to it.
Yeah, it's every bit of New England. It's from our friends in Connecticut, which
Mhm.
is a solid choice. And it also comes with listening recommendations, but we'll talk about those in a minute.
Oh, okay, good.
So
There you go.
yeah, mhm.
Well poured,
Beautiful.
sir.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
I guess if we're going forward now backward, it's time for me to also have a
Sponsored pour.
sponsored
No
pour,
way.
also from Little House Brewing in Connecticut. You know,
It's like we coordinated.
we did. Honestly, we did. The reason I did that, suggested that, is because actually, the provider gave me these beers just a few days ago, so they're very fresh. But also, we've been getting a lot of downloads from Connecticut. I don't know if they're listening into any of the current shows or not. So this will be a surprise to them when they finally make it to episode 96. But I think they're downloading a lot of like episodes in the 40s. Who knows? We've been getting so many back downloads; it's actually up to the average recently, which is kind of cool.
Oh,
But this one is a
on.
stout. It is called Still Revolutionary.
oh.
this-
They, what's up with that? You got a little house on yours too, don't you?
I do. Yeah, it is. I guess that would be their logo.
Yeah. They got a house on there.
Well, no, actually, this one it's more of a houseboat. Is yours a houseboat?
What? No, mine's just a house. It's a fucking adorable house. But it's
So
a house.
this is a fucking adorable. Well, it may be a houseboat or it's a house on a boat. It's got the sail and it's approaching what looks like kind of a desert island. And in keeping with our California theme, there's a little palm tree there.
No, that's
Even though
adorable.
the beer is from Connecticut, yeah. This is I'm trying to find the well, this is an 8% or just
Oh.
8% milk stout. So let's crack this open, see what we have here. Not quite as fucking adorable as yours, but nonetheless.
No, not well. Look, it can't all be. It can't all be.
Pretty cute.
Yeah.
That's definitely got an intense cuteness factor right there. I mean, also the
Right.
8% is cute because mine's
See that
10, but that's
creaminess
fine.
in there?
Yes.
Right
Oh,
on.
nice, good can
Well,
art. Love a house
I-
on a boat.
I do not have a sponsored pour today, but I had a couple beers picked out for the podcast, and I like
Mhm.
to do different breweries. And then I went to the store the other day, the market, and I found this beer, and it's called Huckster.
Huckster.
Oh my gosh!
That is
Double
Named after
IPA.
you.
This is from Topa Topa Brewing out of Ventura, California. We were talking a lot about Ventura
Mm.
last night.
Yep.
And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that is a stovepipe can. So
Oh,
it's
like
also a double
19.2?
IPA. Yeah. And
Excellent.
so it's 8.8%. So
All right.
in a big can. I got my nice
Ooh,
Brooklyn Defender beer glass here.
looking
Take
good.
a look. It's looking very clear coming out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a real West Coast clarity. And there you go. All right. We'll see how
Oh,
Indeed. Yeah, see
let's
that
see
can.
how the
hot
huckster
stuff.
judges the huckster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Fantastic.
me. I'm the huckster in the situation. Right
Oh,
All right.
All right.
And by
Man.
reverse engineering everything, we made it Cider Girl doesn't have to wait for the rest of us because once
thank goodness.
her beverage is poured, we're all going to pour together. What do you got there?
Oh, thank goodness. All right. So this is a Hemley apple cider.
Ooh,
A nice thing about this from California, not a lot of
okay.
ciders from California. This is one of them. This is the Pink Lady. And what I love about this is it's 100% organically grown apples. Isn't that
Oh,
awesome?
we
So
love to see that.
it's good for the earth and hopefully for me drinking as well. So I'm going to give this an old pour into the
Okay.
glass here. I am using a sponsored pour glass, by the way.
That is true.
Taking
With
it old
the,
school.
I'll keep it at old school for sure. And gosh,
Yeah.
is it hazy? That's the sense I'm getting. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
look super
does.
clear.
It says it is unfiltered.
Okay.
It does. It's not hugely alcoholic. It's got like a 4 point something or other here,
Excellent. And
but it's a really pretty color, eh?
yeah, hold that can next to
Yeah.
it again. Let me get just another look at that. Oh,
I was
very
going to say the
nice.
color of the can almost matches the color of the cider.
It really
Yeah,
does.
It
Yeah.
really does. It's one of the, it's like clear. It's like you're seeing what you're getting kind of situation, you know. So
All right.
all right.
Cheer. We all have pours. Cheers, Beer Vengers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Vengers.
Happily.
Mm,
Oh, very nice.
Oh. Oh.
mm, mm.
Oh.
Oh,
Are we
Well,
supposed
it
to talk
doesn't.
about them?
I get it. It doesn't
you're
taste
ready,
like it. It doesn't taste like a 10%. I'll say that to mine.
oh wow.
Yeah, is she's a juicy one right here. You know, it like you can't taste the this is why if I feel like you drink enough of this and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's just orange juice, and then halfway through there's a rainbow that shows up, and you're like, what am I seeing? Because I have a feeling it's going to hit hard.
Yeah.
I did want to. It's got it's a lovely triple IPA, Citra, El Dorado, Mosaic, and Belma in there, so it's a good mix of hoppy friends. But my favorite part about this, among so many other things about this, was the listening recommendations. It comes with a QR code, and the recommended song is "Fuck You" by CeeLo,
Oh, perfect.
which feels correct. There's a whole Spotify playlist connected to it, so so if we're feeling real spicy, we can just I don't know. Maybe maybe that's a good one to sort of mix with this if you can get the rights to it, Captain, for our Instagram posts. If you're following us,
I will fucking check that for sure.
yeah,
Oh boy.
fucking check that and fucking follow us at the Beer Vengers on the Instagrams where you will see stories with all of our beers and some musical accompaniment. And if you're not
No,
doing
I'm gonna
that,
see, mine has a
what are
QR
you
code
doing?
as well. So, oh yeah.
I
I mean, we'll
oh.
get on to the other ones, but so as I might have mentioned, this one is a stout with let's see, with coffee, coconut, which I guess is why the tropical setting there,
Mhm.
and also
There's nutmeg in here.
it's right,
Shocking.
fitting since we have a beer from the nutmeg state.
One would
There is
hope.
nutmeg in here,
Right on.
and yeah, I do not know this. I know the "Fuck You" song, but I don't know the song "There Might Be Coffee" by Dead Man 5.
Oh,
But
well, I
guess
love
that's
the
one
recommendations.
yeah.
It's a
And
classic.
there's actually like 3 paragraphs here on the back of the can, which I did not do my diligence and read that before we did this. So I'm just going to enjoy the beer.
So for mine,
And
you
it's quite
could
lovely.
you could play Andy Williams' version of Moon River. That would be my
Your
request.
Huckleberry friend, yeah.
Huckleberry friend. Topa Topa, nice beer. It's very smooth. Get nice lacing on the glass.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't taste too strong. Got a little bit of that West Coast syrupy vibe to it, but nice aroma. It says that I'm supposed to get white wine, mango, and pear on the tasting notes.
And how much of that did you actually get?
I mean, I do have trouble with that, even as a beer expert, to go along with that tasting notes. But I'll think about them as I sip. Let me see.
It's a power of suggestion.
He's thinking hard. Let's see. What did
I get the mouth feel of a pear. You know, like when you bite, you get the sort of the fruity in the juicy insides, the mouth feel of a pear. White wine. I mean, I don't want to be tasting white wine when I'm drinking a double IPA, but luckily I'm not feeling that. So it's just a darn good West Coast double. And not too strong tasting, but it's definitely strong. And there's a guy on a bike or a woman, the huckster, I guess.
Oh.
And do they mean huckster like somebody who's going to rip you off?
We'll never know.
Is an unfortunate synonym for huckster, you know.
Well, you chose
double
the name.
meaning.
If there's corn in it could be someone like taking
the shuckster.
Yeah,
the shuckster. So
now that would be a good like Mexican lager, yeah. The shuckster.
Corn lager, the shuckster. Mm-hmm.
So, if I may,
yes.
No.
This I'm doing it anyway. This is a Pink Lady, so I think if there was a song, it would have to be from Grease 2. I believe there is a distinct Pink Lady song in Grease 2.
Yeah.
If not anything from Grease 1. And then
job for you, Captain.
We just made this week easy.
I have lots of options. It's wonderful.
This is for ciders. There's kind of three big families of cider. There's the funky, challenging, drier ciders. There's the heavy sweet, like almost candy, where they put different fruits in it and whatnot. And then there's just apple cider, traditional apples fermented, and then it's alcohol. And that's where this one falls. It's a very traditional apple cider taste, but it is with alcohol. So there you go.
Excellent. Yeah, I have an update on mine. This is curious because Huck, I know you're really into the whole Spotify land. Do they have the Beatles?
Yes.
Because I finally since I can't read the back of this can since I am old and it's shiny.
You're still fucking adorable, Captain. You're still fucking adorable.
Thank you, Beer Wonder. You're adorable too.
No one's as adorable as the Beer Wonder.
Thank you. Fucking adorable.
But so, yeah, as we said, this one is called Still Revolutionary. And so here it says the Connecticut may have dropped the tagline a while back. We all know it to be true. The state is still revolutionary. And we're here to remind you that. This coconut bomb is brewed with malted barley and oats grown by Thrall Family Farm in Windsor Locks. A huge hit of coffee roasted by Ashlawn Farm in Old Saybrook. Huck, didn't you have some other like beers that had coffee from them as well? Like I can't remember where it was. Like some of your Vermont breweries, or specifically Ashlawn Farm. I feel like there was an Ashlawn coffee porter or something.
It does sound familiar. Yeah. That's Fox Farm.
That's okay. That's the one.
Yes. Ashlawn. I remember that. That was what the beer was called.
Right. That must be why.
And also from Eastern Connecticut. Yeah.
25
it all comes
pounds
together.
I miss Fox Farm a lot, actually. I was thinking about because we had Summer Fox last week, and I was like, oh, Fox Farm.
Yeah. So 25 pounds of toasted coconut imported to Connecticut via African and European swallows. I'm sure that's true.
Wow.
But the reason I asked about the Beatles is because on this thing they did not mention the song I mentioned before. They recommend the obvious one. Because I already told you it's the Beatles, so the song would be
Yellow Submarine.
Yes, Yellow Submarine is exactly right, Cider Girl. No, it is Revolution. That's the recommended. So
yes.
Yeah, so I will put one of yes, but yeah, I actually rewatched that movie not too terribly long ago. Holds up. Yeah, so we all have some wonderful beers here, and. Any other tasting notes before we get back to our California travel log?
Well, I'll tell you that it's in Chester, Connecticut. That would have been a good. I always used to look for breweries when we would do our New York to Cape Cod trips, and now looks like that's not far from 95. So,
well, next time you're in town,
every road trip.
Swing on by, pop on over.
I have a car now. I can just drive and meet you there.
Road trip.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah,
And
well, we
speaking
need
of
another
road
beer
trips,
adventure after our most recent
Oh,
one.
look at that! Look at that! Look at that transition there. That was smooth. That was slick.
Although
Segue.
we went like 15 months between beer ventures.
yeah, let's hope it's not
Maybe we
quite as
could
long.
cut that
but
number down a little
I
Yeah,
would
for
like
the
that.
next one.
we're gonna work. We're gonna work on that.
But yeah, so I think when last we were talking about our story, if you listen to episode 95, we had just sent Beer Wonder back to New York.
Yes, I'd taken the late flight out of Fresno.
That's right.
Not the latest, but the late flight. There was one at
and
like midnight, so
and
wasn't gonna do
so
that nonsense.
and so Cider Girl, Hophead Huck, and I returned to the undisclosed location, and
Right.
not a lot of other. We had so much beer venturing that day. We sort of chilled and watched a little TV and had dinner, things like that.
Mhm.
And then the next day we did something.
Ooh.
Oh, that was our we did do a side venture to a lovely little town called Hanford.
So that was Monday.
Oh.
I couldn't remember if that was Monday or Tuesday.
Hanford,
Yeah.
California.
Yes.
Did we do that on
Hanford?
Monday?
That's what I'm trying to remember.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, we did. We did.
That was on Monday. All right. Yeah. So we
I don't
drove
know
up
what the hell we
to.
did on Tuesday.
That's what I'm trying to remember too. I remember what we did Tuesday night, but I don't remember.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, we went to the grocery store on Tuesday before.
Oh yeah, I showed you the market. Yeah.
I think we just been doing so much at that point. We just decided, all right, we'll wait till Cider Girl gets home to go out and do more fun stuff.
Oh, we thought about getting the bus and going down early. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, what I remember is I was at work.
Oh.
Well, we
Yes.
didn't talk about
Mm.
Friday that we did it. We did go to Cider Girl's work and enjoyed her achievements here in the city of Fresno.
I love how we're
in
being
the,
coy about being specific about all of this.
zoological department.
Yes.
Y'all can well, I think we haven't really made a big secret that a lot of us have worked for different zoos.
Yes, and we know
Yeah.
that's why you
Currently
moved to
do, in
Fresno
fact.
to begin with. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, why else would we go to Fresno? Nothing against Fresno.
For all the
yeah.
beer.
The beer and
Yes,
the culture and the
yes.
comedy scene.
culture?
I honestly, I was impressed when I got back to my Clark Kent job and told everyone what a good time I had had. Their immediate response was, "But not that good of a time, right?"
To
But
which
yeah,
I countered
who
with,
said
if
that?
Ethan wants to come work. Oop, anyway,
Yeah.
delete.
Delete. Oops.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think she had a job for you, but it's been filled. So,
I know. Well, hey, the guy you got seems great.
but yeah, let's talk about Hanford. That was
Hanford, Hanford, California, nice
Yes.
little town.
I don't know why we came up with that. What started that whole thing? But we were just we're making a lot of like sort of small town stereotypes about Hanford.
It's
And
it's
we were-
about a 45-minute drive from Fresno, and it's a like any other town in the Central Valley. I mean, the Central Valley of California is agriculture, right? So
Yeah.
it's crops, it's cows, it's so it just struck us that this was going to be one of them. It's just a country town, like
Yeah.
out in we do things different here in Hanford.
yeah,
And it is famous for its ice cream. So
Right.
people
Oh,
in
yeah.
the summer go from all around to go there just for the ice cream.
But
Oh,
the
wow.
captain and I had developed this character.
yes.
I
Like if
will
we were
say
stopped by
I
the
thought the
police or
captain
something
did-
like that. Yeah.
I enjoyed the captain's version of the character very much.
You fellas aren't from around here, are you?
I mean,
Yeah.
and so we were using that gag throughout the day. Like if we're gonna get pulled over,
we were.
I pulled into a parking lot, and the parking lot was like, I pulled into the exit lane rather than entrance. So,
Right.
oh, son,
God.
that's not the way we do things here in Hanford. But we did go to a brewery. That was the
you folks from
original
the city,
point.
yeah, Fresno. Oh yeah, the city. That's,
Yeah, big city.
Oh my God.
But we did go to a lovely brewery, Hop Forged Brewing. That
there
was
it
our
is. I was
Okay.
trying to look that up. Thank you for remembering that because I had a wonderful brown beer when I was there.
We had a good brown ale, and I had a really nice lager of some kind. I know what. No, I didn't because I looked on the board, and they said, "Oh, you like this beer wonder that was
Yes.
$3 kick the keg special.
Oh, that takes us back.
That
And
was
I'm
beautiful,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, which one's the kick the keg? And he said it's a rye. It was a rye IPA. I said, that's what I'm having.
Yeah, that's the goods right there.
$3, a $3 beer.
I know. My gosh, I remember Huck when you were leading the charge for the $4 pours in Gotham.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those
You
were
can't
the
get a $4.
days.
You can't get a $4 pour anymore.
But I believe that the reason my brown is the only one I logged is because I think I got a flight there too.
Yes, you did.
And I'm sure I have a picture of
the
that
captain
somewhere.
got his usual dark flight.
Well, that's always what I do. If there's at least 4 beers that I want to try, a flight is always the best.
And some of them
route to
looked.
go there.
I tasted a couple. They were good. They were. I
Yeah.
think they did good work on stouts.
They did, and it sounds like there's a lot of fun activity there. They have like I think wasn't there a comedy night or something that the
Yeah.
bartender was telling us? It really
Yeah,
nice
a friend
guy,
of
really
mine was
friendly guy.
actually playing there a couple days later. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I was like equating like a lot of the comedy guys will travel to Hanford or Bakersfield, which is 2 hours away, or these other towns.
Yeah.
And it's like back in the 90s when we lived in Manhattan, someone would say, "Oh, I'm doing a show. It's in Brooklyn." I'm like, "It's Brooklyn. Okay, well, you enjoy that."
I mean, you talk about the 45-minute drive. It
Such a
actually takes me.
Manhattan
It does take
snob,
me
like-
longer to get to Brooklyn than it took us to get to Hanford.
Yeah, which is wild because I mean that's only
Yeah.
a short trip as the crow flies, as it were.
Right.
But we had a lovely time at the brewery. Nice bartender who's very cool.
And because we'd heard so much about this wonderful ice cream, we had to go have the ice cream.
Oh my god!
Naturally.
So we found the place. It was called Superior Dairy. So if you take the word superior, what does that mean?
The height, the top.
Height. The
It's on a
top,
lake?
like we call Lake Superior,
Because it's
but
the best.
maybe- is it the best? But it's really the biggest, is what
That
it is.
also, yes. The biggest is sometimes the biggest is the most important, right?
And it turns out that's how Superior Dairy views themselves.
Hmm. So it's
Because-
size matters.
We went in, first of all, it's a beautiful little like old-fashioned kind of ice cream, like the
And
picture.
they have all
on
these
our
little these counters
Oh.
and these old like booths and stuff, and
It was fucking adorable.
it's fucking
It
adorable,
was,
yeah.
I'm sure, as it should be.
But scattered around all of these seats were signs saying "Don't sit here" or something like that.
Do not sit.
Oh God.
Because apparently they stopped having inside seating during 2020, and they still have maintained that policy. So it's this big place with all the seating, and we had to eat our ice cream outside. But before we did, fortunately, I was alerted to how superior in size these things were, because I was just going to get 2 scoops. You know, Huck got a scoop of something, and I was like, well, I'll get 2. But the double size was. Well, when they showed me how much they were serving Huck for a single, I realized, like, oh no, I don't need more ice cream than that, because it was so much ice cream.
Oh.
The first thing was the board. It says a small is $9.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, well, I mean, they're supposed to be the best. I guess they know it.
Yeah.
And then I see the guy start to put it into the cup, and he's using a pint cup, like a Ben & Jerry's pint. And he
And it's
fills
over the
whole
top.
thing, and then he tops it.
Yeah.
So it was like a pint and a quarter
It's a lot of
of
ice cream.
Yes.
It's a
And I'm-
commitment.
Look, I'm not. I'll tell you what. I did not finish it.
Yeah, I think I
Uh,
came closer than you did, but I did not finish mine either. But it was good ice cream.
You did a yeoman's job on that.
Yeah.
And what's funny, we're doing the police character the whole time, the sheriff character,
And we're out
Oh
on
my
the
God.
sidewalk eating our ice cream, and who shows up but
the town sheriff.
Oh God.
well, we don't know if that was her job specifically, but yeah, like just all of a sudden, like, yeah, didn't say that you folks aren't from around here thing, but it was some kind of version of that, sort
It
of.
was close
Yeah.
because she's like, "Oh, well, those look good," and we're like, "Oh, thanks, yeah, we didn't realize they'd be this big." I was like, "Oh, you haven't been before."
Yeah. There's your, you folks aren't from around here, are you?
It was a lovely woman who was had a gun and she was a
Oh!
police officer. This was a cop.
That's yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but it's always aggressive when a gun shows up, you know.
Well, she didn't pull it out,
No.
Well, thank goodness.
but she was very nice.
It was only a first date, so yeah.
Well,
And so she was not the sheriff character that we were playing.
No,
but it
no,
was
she
like,
was. Yeah,
it was kind of funny that that she was right there, and she was more like struck me as like a nice mom
yeah.
person. Although I have to say, like, attractive, because when you see a woman in uniform with a gun, I don't know, is that a thing? Does you guys?
Well,
I
you're the
mean,
one who says she didn't whip it out. So
I'm
that's why I
this
said
is
it was. Only, it was
this is
I mean,
not
a
my
lady
area
from-
of expertise.
I mean, I'm not a fan of cops, right? And
but she was nice.
on
Yes,
principle, but I was like, well, maybe I'll change my mind.
Oh my!
but
And
I
I
did.
just
Yeah.
going to interrupt to
Oh,
remind everybody
Spider-Girl's here.
Yes.
that I was at work this whole time. I just want to.
Yes. But I'm sure the cop would have been just as friendly if you'd been there. And then we wandered
Very
around a little
nice.
while to do finish as much of the ice cream as we could.
And walking in the rain, of course.
Yeah, it wasn't raining
Yes.
that hard, but a light rain. And then we found the public bathroom and it was locked. And all of a sudden, someone came out of nowhere and said, "Oh, do you need that unlocked?" So we just sort of had this idea of that with the entire city is on some weird closed circuit camera, and they just kept sending people out to interact with us.
Like it's the Truman Show.
Yeah,
This is weird. This is weird.
So we had the cop. Oh, and then don't forget the movie theater was showing that
The Proposal.
modern movie, The Proposal.
yeah. It was like
Right,
a place that
yeah.
had live events and classic-ish movies. And the one they chose was Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds' classic rom-com, The Proposal.
The Proposal. Get your tickets now.
Yeah, because it's
Selling
going to
out
sell out
fast
for
here in
sure. Yeah.
Hanford.
Uh,
Yeah, and then they had a nice park. Well, it wasn't that nice, actually. It was all under construction. But the bathrooms were all locked. And as we're walking away from the bathrooms, this guy's running towards us. Hey!
I
Yeah,
feel like
I'm
this is some sort of
open that up for
absurdist
you.
comedy that you've
Yeah.
landed in, right? Like this is some like memento shit. That's someone had a head injury and a little bit too much to drink, and then all of a sudden a world appeared around you.
yes,
But
now
then-
we're back to Memento again.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny.
And you're just eating a giant tub of ice cream and you don't remember why.
Exactly. This feels appropriate.
But we did eventually make it out of there with as
Thank
much
God.
ice cream as we could heroically finish. And then we got back to Fresno, and Cider Girl came home from work, and then we went out to a place that, for whatever reason, I did not identify on this thing, but I know what I had there. I
Oh,
did
no.
not identify.
Oh,
the
yeah, we went to Chico's, didn't we?
Yes, that was it. It was.
Not all about that.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I wrote Out of the Barrel.
Oh, we went to Out of the Barrel.
There we
Oh,
go. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chico's is the place we went for dinner.
We
But
did
before
go
that-
at some point to the Chico's.
But Out of the
yeah.
Barrel was across from there. We went there, and I had an Eclipse from 50/50, which was great. It was a barrel
Yes,
aged
we did
Eclipse.
enjoy.
Yeah,
some-
yeah.
And for those who don't know, Out of the Barrel wasn't on our my list. You remember I had the map of.
Oh, I remember
places
very
to
very
go.
detailed.
Yes.
And but Out of the Barrel is a great beer bar.
Yeah.
They have 30 something taps, maybe 40 taps,
Yeah, and some really
And
nice
all
bottle
craft
selection too.
and
Yeah.
a really nice bottle and can. I was there today, actually. I picked up a Cider Girls cider over there at Out of the Barrel. Shout out to Out of the Barrel. Great
Yeah.
spot.
That's a really nice
Apologies
place.
to the
Yeah.
to the Beer Wonder for not bringing him there.
Yeah, they always have a cider and seltzer on tap
Oh.
usually. So there's
Oh, nice.
a couple extra choices for, those of us.
Does remind me of Pony a bit, except they
Okay.
have the fridges, of course. But the because Pony's the all American, right? That was the big thing. with
Yes,
them,
that was what they were
all-American
pushing.
craft. And I noticed when we were there, I don't think they do this strictly, but it's all California.
Very.
Really?
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
The whole tap list. I think there was maybe one on the list that was from Oregon, but very California centric. So very cool place. Very cool place.
And yeah, we were like, I think we were taking a little bit slow out because we'd had so much, concentrated stuff with Beer Wonder that we were like that. I think all Monday that was the only. I mean, we probably had some other beers here and there, but that was the only place that we went to for beer. But then the next day, we had kind of a slow afternoon, but then we really had a packed evening. I mentioned already that we went to Spokeasy. just to give you a sense of the narrative, and Cider Girls was with us there. We did the whole bottle share. I got the Ivan the Terrible I had last week. I had the Untitled Art beer there, but then Cider Girl was tired.
Yeah, I came down with something and had to have
yeah, it
antibiotics a few
wasn't
days
too
later.
well.
It wasn't COVID, don't worry.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I
so
was. Oh.
I was just tired.
Well, the other thing that happened was the plan was to go to do the comedy show at the Labyrinth,
Oh,
the open
right.
mic,
Yeah.
and the mic was canceled, which it actually just happened again this week. So it's becoming an epidemic with this mic.
Oh
being
no, we can't have that.
But so we ended up going, and there were a couple people showing up at the bar, other comedians who.
Yeah, so we
didn't
just
get
got
the
to all
memo.
hang up with all the comedians that got a snow day.
It was like a snow day, yeah. Snow day for open micers. And we had a great time over there. And again, shout out to Jacob at Spokeasy, great guy, and enjoyed the Heavy Boots of Lead with us. We also brought in a Fremont beer. I forget the name of it, but it was like a coffee.
Oh,
I mean, Fremont makes the best stouts. It was just such a good beer.
And Heavy Boots, as if we mentioned last time, that was from Single Cut, was their Kurt thing,
Single
which
Cut,
I brought.
right.
I brought as a housewarming gift.
We basically followed the same pattern that we did Friday night, except we ended up going to Strummers for the karaoke night. But we went over to Goldstein's first.
That was a whole lot of fun. Yeah,
I
we
met up with more comedians there, right? There was other
We
comics
hung out
that
on the
showed
patio
up.
for a while. I am trying to see if I logged anything when I was there.
I mean,
actually, I started with one that you had one year had as your. I think the first year we did this was your beer of the year. That was Death and Taxes by Moonlight.
You had
That was my first Moonlight Brewing. For as long as I've been hearing you talk about this brewery, I'm glad I finally got to have. Or well, you might have shared something with me at your house, but yeah, there was I got to have a on draft Death and Taxes, which is a dark lager from Moonlight. Really, really quite wonderful.
Yeah.
I think
and
I definitely had other things that night. Yeah.
I was strictly in a Pilsner vein after that. I had Chapman crafted Pilsner. Just stuck with that for the rest of the night.
I'm pretty sure I had at least something else, but I did not log it there. But yeah, it was after that we. Is there anything else we should be saying about Goldsmiths? Because we've talked about
we did enjoy the dulcet tones of Nate Butler, the piano player.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah,
and what I found out, I know Cider Girl has a question, but let me just get this out. I found out, and maybe we knew this before, but the captain and I, we're really good singing partners. Like we naturally have a harmony, which is
we were like singing along with the. I think he was playing. It was mostly instrumental stuff, right? We were singing.
But what was the song we were singing?
I don't know. It was such a delightful evening and so booze infused that
we got a big round of applause after it.
Yeah.
All right, now I have two
and the piano player is
stories.
very happy that we sang it too.
All right.
Back to Cider Girl.
Okay. One, Goldstein's also has a terrific menu if you're not just wanting beer. They always have a couple ciders on. They always have a couple seltzers, and they almost always also have a mead. So there's a lot of really fun variety for people who are into more crafty beer type bars. It's also, of course, very cool inside. And also, Huck and the captain used to do a duet of To All the Girls I've Loved Before.
That is true.
Where one was Willie Nelson and the other one was Julio Iglesias. And so I think that's where the singing together started.
No, you're right about that, Cider Girl, but that was more like comedic. He's doing the Iglesias imitation. I'm doing this one we were singing the other night, a song. It's like the greatest song in the world. Oh yeah, we can't remember what it was.
This is just a tribute.
Our voices together, we're like, wow. I don't know what it is. You just have like a light, like a low tenor, and I have like a high baritone, and I don't know, just like
I think low tenor vibe. Is over. I'm nowhere close to tenor.
We'll have to make a record someday.
Yeah. Well, but and that's a wonderful segue into our next location, which was Strummers, and we were gonna sing the All the Girls, but
it was planned.
It was planned. It started
Uh-oh.
out, well, you like basically you told me that I should sing uh
Creep.
Creep, which I did.
Which is one of
And
my favorite songs to hear the captain sing, for the record.
And he got a big ovation after doing it.
Of course you
a hit.
did.
Well,
Well,
you're
I
very kind.
remember.
It was
I
a hot
remember.
night at Strummers. I mean, everybody was into the karaoke, which sometimes people just don't pay attention. But
And
that night,
what's the
everyone
name
was,
of
like,
your friend who was
involved.
the karaoke host that has their own Beer Avenger name now?
Nikki.
Yes.
Oh, I see the Beer Venture name. Well, I don't want to say it because I don't think they liked it.
Oh, really? I
Oh.
couldn't tell. All right, so we'll
Yeah.
still work
That's
on that
awkward.
for them. But we will say that they are very fond of the macro beers, and we were trying to find a name that
fond
fit with that, but they
of
they
Bud Light. Yeah.
but yeah, they were running the karaoke thing.
Great
that night.
host. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
a very good comedian as well.
And so yeah, and you were going to sing something else, but you wound up doing a duet with someone else of "Baby It's
Yeah.
Cold Outside,"
Baby,
the
it's
very
Oh,
unproblematic
dear.
song of.
I don't even remember. I don't remember what I was going to sing.
Yeah, I think
It
I
was
had
probably
asked you about something. I might have asked you to do a Neil Diamond. I think that's what it
It
was.
probably was a Neil.
Because you were so good at that back in the day.
This friend of mine, Nicola is her last name. Her name is Danielle. So
Danielle,
says
yes, that's their name. Yeah.
she is also a fellow comedian, and she was like, "Oh, will you do Baby It's Cold Outside?" I'm like, "Oh, of course." And then she's like, "Oh, it'd be like 15th." I said, "Well, I'm about to go on. See if Nikki will change it," and they did,
There you go.
Oh.
and we did it. Still
Wow.
appropriate. It's a winter song, not a
Valid.
Christmas song.
And I
And
believe,
I think it went well.
and somewhere in there you bought me a queefing clam. I mean, belching beaver. Some kind of, it wasn't their usual peanut butter stout, but it was some stout with peanut butter thing in there. And then at some point I was just like, I wasn't overwhelmed by their menu, and so I was looking at some of their cocktail specials they had, and among the cocktail specials was a Boilermaker. And so
And
some of
now I do have to ask, because I
Yeah.
did see some questionable behavior on the Instagrams, which is, of course, is at the Beer Vengers. I did. I mean, it may not have made the gram. It certainly definitely made the chat, the epic group chat that we have there. I believe I
It's on the
spotted.
gram, yeah.
I believe I spotted PBRs.
Is there a
Gentlemen.
better is there a better beer for a Boilermaker?
Gentlemen, what was the circuit? Because this needs context. Because
I'm providing you with the context. I just
know,
said I
but-
ordered a Boilermaker. Is there a better beer for a Boilermaker?
well, I'm going to let you
Probably.
be the judge of that.
I'm just
Is there
saying
a
it's
cheaper
like,
beer?
well, no. Well, I don't. It was on this list of specials, and the specials was
Right.
essentially a shot of well whiskey and a PBR. And I didn't feel I was. I think I was getting kind of full because we had those wonderful pupusas at the other place.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Cider Girl. Yeah.
and all those wonderful rich beers, and I was just ready for something. I wanted to keep the buzz going, but I wanted something a little light, and the
Okay.
Boilermaker seemed to be the perfect choice for that.
I mean, strong choices, but I gotta ask, Huck, because you're maintaining the standards around here. Like, I am all for. I like my Bud Light Lime. We had this discussion early on the macros episode, but like, was it at least less than $4? The beer?
I would think so with the
Okay.
shot. Yeah.
Thank
I think it's
God.
like 5 or 6.
With the shot, it might have been 8.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it
As
was
long-
It's not bad.
under 10 for a shot of whiskey and a beer. I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
As long as we're maintaining the Huck standard,
But
that's
Strummers has
really
a
what I
nice.
care about.
It has a nice beer list. It's small, but it's good pours, clean pours. Some plastic glasses a lot of the time, unfortunately. But it is
And-
Strummers. It's kind of it's a rock club. So
And
they
so
go
that
with
was
plastic.
that was essentially the end of my participation in the Fresno trip, and there'll be more karaoke in my next destination. But before we get to that, I believe we're on to some second pours, and
Oh my goodness.
we'll start that
I
with
got
Huck. See what you got.
This beer, it's called Pints and Pitches. I think it's some sort of baseball reference. So West Coast
Sports.
Sports. And it's from a brewery called oh snap.
Oh
I
snap!
forgot what it was
That's a good
called.
brewery. I like them.
What are they called? Oh my gosh. Flatland.
Yeah.
And it's out of Groveland,
Oh.
California. So that's down south as well. I'm in a southern kick today. The Topa Topa out of Ventura. And this is basically, I think it's a hoppy pills. I'm going to do this side of it with the hop on there. That's kind of a cool looking pour, actually.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the back side. We seal the Pilsnery color. Well, it looks different on the camera than it does in person. Oh man, I used the same glass. I brought a second glass in here with me.
What are you doing?
Oh my
What
gosh.
have you done,
What
Captain?
am I doing? I just ate like a 19-ounce can of double IPA.
Well, somebody breaks the
delightful.
rules by having a PBR. Now all heck is
I
broken.
know.
Feeling it. I'm
I
feeling
know.
it right now.
You're right, Cider
Cheers.
Girl. See, you speak the truth. Speak truth to power.
So, just to slip in
Great.
here, when the gentleman came back from the beer venging, I heard the captain's voice, "We made it home!" coming from the living room, and I knew they'd made it home safely.
We did get an Uber, folks. For those of you at home, we thought we were
Isn't
gonna
that
drive.
comforting, Cider Girl, when someone just shouts, "We made it home!" while you're probably trying to get to sleep or at least taking care of the dog?
It was comforting because I recognized the voice.
Fair point.
But I do not recall saying that, but I'm glad it was comforting. And I was also glad that you remembered to take my Ivan the Terrible beer out of the car and leave it in a very prominent place on the kitchen table, so I didn't have to wake you up and say, "Oh, where's my beer?" And so I was able to have that one on the last episode.
You're welcome.
I saw that same beer at the market, like just yesterday or whenever I was there. Yeah,
it's a wonderful beer. And yeah, it's I'm going to defend once again my PBR, because I think that if you're having a Boilermaker, it's fine. And I'm going to come out of the closet about this as well. There's a
Wow.
almost every
This is a big show.
Well, there's a place where I sometimes hang out with what did we name the bird themed name? Why do I always forget their name? Peacock. The what? So I should probably just
context.
John Peacock.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more here.
But I forgot what we named them.
The Night Runner.
The Night Runner. Yes.
No, that's someone else entirely. That's from like 3 years ago. I'm talking about someone we had on more like 3 months ago. Anyway,
3 months.
He and I hang out at a place called the White Horse Tavern when I get off work sometimes, and we frequently have the PBR version of the Boilermaker there. So,
Okay, so it's a tradition for you to
honestly, if you're having a shot of whiskey, sometimes you want something a little lighter, and
I get that.
Anyway. But that is not what I'm having right now. I
accepted you. I just thought it was fun to see you walk up to me with a PBR in hand.
No, I appreciate. I'm glad that I'm still able to bring shock value to anything. Really,
I was concerned. I had questions. There were text messages exchanged. The wonder was wondering. I'll say that.
Was wondering.
I'm glad that my antics aren't all tired and stale at this point.
Right on.
But I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm not going to disappoint you with my second pour that I just brought out from a place that we often refer to as the Captain's Cellar.
Oh my!
Oh snap!
Oh snap! Indeed.
Oh, snaps.
Well, we're going to the Captain's Cellar, yeah. Come high water or hell, yeah. Filled with stouts and porters, made with bricks and mortars. Going to the Captain's Cellar, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just raising the roof a little bit, which I imagine will be a fairly low roof if you're in the Captain's Cellar. But yeah, this is one that
you should watch your head, Captain. We don't want you to get a bruise or anything.
I was going through the cellar earlier today, and I wanted to figure out something that was thematically with what I'm about to say now. And I decided that since I had an Untitled Art beer on tap at Spokeasy, that I went to the cellar and I pulled out this Untitled Art. It is a barrel-aged Mexican-style pot de creme stout.
These are a lot of words that sound delightful.
Yeah, it is barrel-aged imperial stout with macadamia nuts, cocoa, cinnamon, chocolate, vanilla, and milk sugar. And,
hello.
And
that's a lot of words.
That is many words.
Is. And it is since I know some of you bested me a little while, I am proud to say this is a 12.9% beer.
All right.
And I have a very special mug that I'm pouring it into that some of you have seen already. and I will describe it
Oh
shortly.
yeah.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
this is a very special mug. A special beer and a special mug. And a 12% beer going in this mug also feels right.
Let's call it
You know,
13 because 12.9 is essentially 13.
Yeah.
fine. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
rounding error from glory.
Top it off. Top it off. There you go.
So this is a mug that was gifted to me as a late Christmas present recently from Belgian Babe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, we're all about callbacks to previous episodes because we know all of you beer Avengers out there are true completionists.
Of course.
We just got back from Fresno and we talked about a trip we went on 15 months ago with my father, who unfortunately has since passed away. And we have some shows about that. You can listen to those. And so the Belgian Babe got me this lovely mug with a picture of us on a bike trip. And it's sort of like stenciled on the outside of the mug. If you really want to see this one, you can go to thebeervengers.com because I will be posting this picture there. And about us on this little bike trip, and it says at the bottom, "Enjoy every sandwich," which was a favorite quote of his that I talked about at his funeral. And so
that's perfect.
Yeah,
so
that's
why I
pretty
got this.
incredible.
So cheers to the Beer Avengers trips.
Cheers to the Beer
So,
Avengers.
Yeah.
Always.
Indeed.
Or the brown stout, yeah.
Yeah.
And today is Eileen's birthday, my mother's birthday, and it's her first year we've been without her.
Oh.
So cheers to Eileen as well.
Cheers to
Cheers
Eileen.
to Eileen.
The song this came on one of my playlists, "Leader of the Band." You know that song, Dan Fogelberg?
Dan Fogelberg, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I heard it, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly how I feel about her, except she's not a man, and she didn't lead a band, but
other than that sentiment, yeah,
she was a leader of souls, and I am just the living legacy of the leader of the band. So thank you, Eileen, for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not to step on.
I was gonna say, now where were we?
You did not
Because
step
there's
on
more drinking.
You did not
more drinking.
You did not step on anything. If anything, you added on because we talk about these things. This is when friends hang out.
The reality of what we do.
We talk about. Yeah,
these are things that come up. It's really true.
This may be our best episode ever, I think.
Yeah, well, I know we said we were going to go to 100, but this is my second legal pad I've been working on through the thing, and this is the last page, so maybe we should just end it on this one.
Oh, gosh.
We're kidding, of course.
That's aggressive. That's an aggressive stop to this thing.
I don't know. Do I really have to get another legal pad? No, I'm joking.
I just got sick to my stomach.
I hope it wasn't the cider.
No.
But yeah, so let's get back on to the trip. So yeah, the next morning, after guiding some people through some tea and corporate mindfulness exercises,
corporate joy.
Huck drove me to the Fresno airport where I got a car and drove down to Lake Elsinore, about half of which was a very nice trip, and the last 2 hours were hell.
Okay.
It's just like once you get into the LA area, no matter what time of day, it's just like, why is the traffic this slow? But I got there about 6:30 p.m. And and the karaoke stories are not over. In fact, all my beer stories going forward are karaoke themed. Because my friend Sarah and her husband Pat, who were gracious enough to accommodate me when I was there, friends of mine from when we worked together in the Ophelia Theater Group. In fact,
did you give them Beer Avenger names?
I still have it now. You're much better about that than I am. I forget to do that except when you're around. So that's your fault for not being around.
My fault. I got it. Yep. I'll take the blame.
Do better.
But yeah, anyway, but interesting about the way I wound up joining that theater group is because Sarah used to karaoke host a place around the corner from me. It was at the time called Stiniyamas. I'm not going to name their new place because I think they got a very silly name. But that's what it was called. And they did karaoke on Monday nights. We got to know each other and did a lot of shows with them. Of course, the reason why the theater group was called Ophelia is because the name of the place they're from is Lake Elsinore, which is the name of the castle in Hamlet.
Sure.
And I'm not going to explain that any further because if you don't understand that, just Google it. And anyway, but she is still place. She and her husband. Well, actually, I should say I mentioned when I talked about my trip to San Diego, I went there for their wedding, and so she is continuing her karaoke hosting at some places that are very beer centric.
Cool.
And so the first
Oh.
night I was there was her first night ever at this place called the Diamond Tap Room.
Huh.
And,
Okay.
and the Diamond Tap Room
Love
is
the name. There's one in Greenpoint at one point.
Yeah, I don't think this is the same though. I know the one
No.
in Greenpoint was it on a baseball field?
No.
This is on a baseball field. That's why it's called the Diamond Tap Room.
Okay.
It's literally like the bar oversees the field.
That's awesome.
It is the minor league team, the Lake Elsinore Storm. There was not a game that night, of course, because it's January. It was January. But yeah, so they have that theme, and she's starting that night and going on to the future. She's there every Thursday night for karaoke if you want to go there. And they had some really interesting beer. Their main brewery was from a place called Murrieta, California, and it's called Garage Brewing. You've heard of them?
I feel like I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they had some macros there because it's a baseball game and people will get upset if you don't have that.
You have to, yes.
In fact, I was talking
Garage has done collabs with other half. That's my connection to Garage.
Well, Garage is most of what they have there. They also had something from AleSmith, and they have a bunch of the macros. And it was funny. I was talking to one of the servers there about how it was funny because at some point or another, at a very inopportune time, just because of their distributor, they switched from Bud Light to Coors Light. And that's when you find out all the horrible Trumpy people around you who say like, yeah, I'm so glad you got rid of Bud Light. And they're like, that's not the reason. Sorry. No, that's not the reason you think it is, but thanks for coming. But so what I'm bearing the lead about all of this is because
everyone's welcome.
All of the beers that they have, whether it's Garage, AleSmith, Bud Light, Modelo, or Coors Light, Modelo, whatever, they have one of those beer walls, those self-serve beer walls that you can serve.
Oh,
one of those cards.
Those are
fun. Like we used to do at Randolph Beer Wonder. But what was
we
cool
don't talk about
this place, their Thursday night special was $20 for 44 ounces, however you want to distribute it.
Oh,
like 44 ounces of any of those beers I'm talking about. And
that's
so
impressive.
And so they'll give you a pint glass if you need a replacement pint glass. That's fine. Also, underneath
deserves a sound bite.
Underneath the beer wall, they have they even have like flight servers. So if you want to use your $20 and your 44 ounces to make your own flight, you can do that too. And on top of that, on Thursday night, it comes with a burger.
Wow.
$20. You get
what the hell are we living in Fresno for?
Look at that.
44 ounces of whatever combination of beers you want, plus a burger, I think, and karaoke. So if you go there,
that is impressive. That's solid.
Fun. I want to circle back to our Tuesday night when you arrived back at the house.
Okay.
And said, "We're home."
Yeah.
Because Cider Girl has a good story. Because like Tuesday nights are nights when I go out, and like just a lot like our night on Tuesday was a lot of fun. And sometimes I'll come home and bring a lot of energy to the house. And there was a particular night where I didn't have a key to the house.
Ooh.
Oh, there was an incident.
So there I am in bed. Dogs at my feet, we're dozing off.
And the dog is letting you sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
11:30-ish or so.
Yeah. But now our bedroom has a door to the outside world. Now the outside world is our, patio. It's not the outside world, but it is,
Got a patio with a lovely pool there with a regulation fence around it.
Yeah, but you could come in through the fence and then end up, at one of our doors. So
yes,
there I am, sound asleep, relaxed, and then I hear out this door, basically at the foot of my bed, "Your husband's home!"
Oh my God!
It's me. And I think he knocked. Knock, knock, knock. So I wake up on the second knock. The dog wakes up. The dog's barking like there's a murderer, and it's your husband. And I nearly died.
That is terrifying. That is.
I don't have my keys.
Well, I didn't have the key. So what I could have done was gone to the backyard where we have a secret key somewhere in the yard, and I could have, but the secret key only opens the
Somewhere.
door in the front yard. So I would have gone back there, gotten the key, gone back out to the front door and come in. But by that time, the dog would have noticed I was out there, and he would have made a lot of noise. So I just figured I'll just rip off the Band-Aid and just bang on the bedroom door and have her let me in. This is my midnight logic on Tuesdays.
Oh God.
Look, rather than this being a funny story, the captain and the beer wonder are horrified.
I mean, I'm just imagining what would have happened if that had happened. That sounds terrifying.
I said I was her. I said it was her husband.
I know, and that doesn't help.
Yeah, imagine you're in a deep sleep and you hear bang, bang, bang.
See, that's like a monster from the deep or something.
Your husband. I use those words.
I'm going to clarify. Was he doing a character voice?
It's your husband. Husband.
No, because my feeling is that if you could recognize his voice, it's not as if it was an intruder and you didn't recognize his voice, that would be horrifying. But if you did recognize his voice, eventually, wouldn't be as awful.
So
I had to make the distinction. It's Michael, your husband.
Oh yeah,
so your husband.
There was a little bit of a character voice to it. There was an elevation to it, a performative aspect to it.
Oh my gosh.
I was wasted.
The dog was barking at the same time. So it's like knock, 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 bark, 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 I'm my husband. You know.
To my mom.
I love this. I love everything about this. This is correct.
It all worked out in the end.
But it's kind of correct.
She forgave me.
I will. So back to the Diamond Tap Room. Before we leave the Diamond Tap Room, I don't even remember what I sang that night, but it was kind of cool. I was taking a lot of risks doing stuff I hadn't done before, which was fun, as well as a few standards. But I would say the highlight beer that I had from Garage was Ruby's Red. I was a little hesitant because when I heard that name, I thought maybe it was going to be grapefruit flavored. Which some beers are fine that way. But no, it was just like your car. Its Ruby, name is Ruby and it is red. That was like it's
a red ale.
It was a really nice red ale. Enjoyed it a lot. That was my favorite of all of them. If I had it to do over again, I would probably have my entire 44 ounces of that.
Okay.
And then
that's a
red ale.
It's a resounding endorsement right there.
It is. And so then eventually we went back to the house, and a bunch of the other some new friends that they've made out there came all back with us, and we hung out for quite a while. And then the next day there was more karaoke to be had as well. But wound up watching John Wick.
Okay. Was this your first
John
time?
Wick became kind of a strange. Yes, it was. I'd never seen John Wick. Oh. And so we're like, I think at one point they were looking for somebody to just put on in the background. I said, I've never seen John Wick, and said, well, we're watching John Wick now. And so that happened, and I was and I actually enjoyed it very much. Some of the action scenes went on a little long. I mean, I liked the world they built. Some of the action scenes went on long enough and felt kind of like a video game. But other than that, this whole strange place where this Hitman hotel where you give a gold coin, and if they screw up, they give you a car. That's kind of fun. Or have you guys not seen?
Makes perfect sense.
Have any of you seen this movie?
No, you're ahead of us on this one.
Okay, it's on. I'm spoiler. Sorry, but
everything is ruined.
All I'm going to say is you want to keep Teddy out of the room for the first 15 minutes.
Oh. I don't want to watch it.
And then that night we went to her. We went to her other karaoke gig that she'd been doing for a year or so, maybe something like that. And it's called it's the most creative name for a brewery since Huck brought on local brewing, and it is called make sure I get this name right, Craft Brewing Company. That is the name of the brewery in Lake Elsinore, Craft Brewing Company. But they had some very nice beer there. Had some lengua tacos there, which were quite delightful. That was their special of the evening. Hadn't had lengua.
La lengua, the tongue.
And for those of you who don't, yes, it is tongue tacos. I like that very much. And yeah, had a couple of interesting beers there. That I would say the highlight of it, a really nice Scotch ale called Highland Heritage, and a Christmas themed one called Oh Christmas Tree. But the best one was called Warlocks and Werewolves, which was an 11% imperial stout. Fortunately, Patrick helped me shared that one with me because it was a big ass bottle, and
Good to have him.
it is a collaboration between the two different. It's between Craft Brewing Company and another place called Grey Wolf Brewing.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Grey View. We've been talking about them a lot, but this is Grey Wolf Brewing. Really, really nice beer and a wonderful evening of karaoke. And then we went back to the house again, and some of the same people who came with us the night before came again. And it turned out they hadn't seen John Wick, so we watched it again.
Oh, all right. A double feature.
And well, yeah,
Over 2 nights.
It's a single feature. No, this was in the same 24-hour period. We
Oh.
just watched it that afternoon, and somehow it came on again that night. I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. At that point, I had had enough beer and perhaps
It's a
some other
reprise.
and perhaps
It's like,
some
you know,
other.
the song gets sung earlier in the night and then you sing it again. It's a reprise.
Well, I'd had some beer. It also had some herbal treats, and I may have napped a little bit during the second viewing of it. But and before the end of the weekend, I think we did eventually wind up watching John Wick 2. That is good, but I understand 3 and 4 better, and I believe it enough that I will at some point watch those movies as well.
Wait, there's 4?
Well, the 4th one just came out like 6 months ago, and you can actually watch number 4 on one of your SAG-AFTRA sites, whether you want to or not. I don't know what happens to dogs in that one, but
that actually, that's my knowledge of John Wick, is that a dog gets killed.
Oof.
Oh,
Don't watch it. Don't do it. Isn't there a website that warns you of that now, where they're like,
no, I'm not.
does a
if
dog
not,
die in
someone
this?
start it.
Yeah,
It's funny. You can have movies that just mow down human beings like crazy, but you kill one dog,
it's all
you're
over.
in mad trouble.
But yeah, so I had some other beers over the next couple of days in Lake Elsinore, but those were like the main highlights. And then I went up on a red eye out of Ontario, California airport on Monday night. And fortunately, the bar was closed because it was nothing but macro garbage, and
Okay.
and that was the end of my wonderful California trip. And thank Cider Girl and Huck for hosting me for the first half, and thanks to Patrick and Sarah for the other half. And if anyone is listening to this in Lake Elsinore, go to the karaoke night at the Diamond Tap Room on Thursday night, and the Craft Brewing Company. I'll never forget that name.
Yeah,
on Friday nights, because it's a really good time.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I think we did part 2. We did it justice.
We did. We might even have time for a few other things if there's any other business we feel like we need to take care of. Again, just kidding about this being the last episode. I'll find another legal pad. Or I'll
I'm
just
sure
write on
there
the
are-
backs.
We have more.
I'll
we have
write
more
on the
ground
backs
to
of this.
cover.
Yeah, this one
We
legal
do.
pad is episode 47 through 96. So
That honestly, that should be preserved in
look at
as
that
a part of
sometime,
Beer
yeah.
Venger history, right
yeah,
there.
Right.
right
Smithsonian.
alongside my Beer
Yeah.
Vengers hard drive here, which says Beer
Yes.
Vengers Volume 1.
Awesome.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. See,
Uh,
the captain does not mess around.
What would we do without the captain?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Well, we wouldn't do a podcast.
I mean,
Tell you
honestly,
that.
I'll be honest. Among other things, there wouldn't be a podcast, but also there would not be a way to reach out to your favorite beer superheroes here. Captain, I know we've plugged the Instagram tonight, but if people want to get in touch with us and want to
yeah,
share their stories of any of these places, where should they go? What
Well,
should they do?
you can always go to the web to see thebeervengers.com. You can go to our various social things where you put the @ symbol and the Beer Vengers. That's how you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and almost never on the site formerly known as Twitter, because fuck that guy. Yes.
But also the
Cider Girl
tiki-takis.
just made an X with her hands, but
Yes, I did.
doesn't mean we suggest you should go there.
The tiki-takis.
uh,
Tiki-talk.
Before we
Tickety-tickety-talk.
before we
No
wrap
one's
up, there
making TikTok.
there are a few things we do want to mention because these are timely things.
Oh, yes.
Especially the one that I was very sad to read about. Apparently, things aren't going great at the Essex market.
Right.
I guess a lot of client. It's never as wonderful as the Grand Delancey is. They just haven't. They opened barely before the pandemic, but they survived this long. But unfortunately, they will be closing on February. Is it this Sunday or the following Sunday? I need to look
I
that
thought
up.
I thought you
think
said it
it's
was
next
next
week.
Sunday. Yeah, I thought
I
you said it
think
was
you're
like
right.
the
Like
8th. I think you
the
said like the 18th.
The
Yeah.
18th sounds
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So we're releasing this one on Monday the 12th. So you still have almost a week to get there. But you go there, pay your respects. From what I hear, even though that location hasn't worked out there, they like being in New York and they're looking for another location. So hopefully there will be another Grand Delancey and.
18th. They're closing on the 18th.
All
Yeah.
right, so we have Beer Wonder. I have time to get there to pay our
We
respects.
have a couple days.
Just
Yes.
confirmed it. Yeah, that's Brew York, a news source. So
Yes,
And
I mean
a
they actually.
well-respected news source.
If you want to read the
Well
details
respected.
about it is also on the Grand Delancey's Instagram feed. They're pretty detailed about it. Essentially,
we should get Chris on the Beer Avengers.
Chris. They mean the
Chris,
Brew York.
Well, that's his real name. His Brew York is his Beer Avenger name.
All right. Well,
That one's taken. Yes.
I think that's a great idea. Also, I just want to give a wonderful shout out to New Jersey breweries. I think it's really fantastic that you've managed to. They just recently passed a bill where you can. The breweries there have their hands untied to a degree
Yes.
about having events. For a while, that like the bar lobby was sort of running roughshod over the breweries.
Oh yeah,
and the tasting
they
rooms
really
as
were.
far as being able to do stuff. And I'm not sure all the details of that, but that's fixed. And also, I feel like I had to mention this because it's come up. Beer Wonder, you mention it all the time about all the
Yes.
outdoor dining stuff that goes on in New York City.
Exactly. We like
they
them.
they just passed a new thing that is going to kind of dial that down. It's not going to go away, but it's only going to be during certain months. And all the people who
Right.
have cars they want to park, they might actually get those parking spaces back.
Okay.
Well, so what is your feeling on this Beer Wonder? Elaborate a little bit more.
I mean,
Clearly, he doesn't like cars parking.
look, we've got so much infrastructure in this city. I'm like, let's share the space. I do think that basically, if you got a free parking spot, that's great. That's amazing. Also, that is space that is being used by the city that our tax dollars are paying for. I love the fact that restaurants have the ability to earn money on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this balances out.
I think that some restaurants have taken advantage of that. Like there are places have like 5 times as much street space as they ever had inside their establishment. So they're basically the ones who are ruining it for everyone. So there are a lot of places, and I'm really glad they had a chance to get something back. But it's been a couple of years, and I said that about people parking spaces. I don't care that much about the parking spaces, but I also don't like eating on the street. I like real backyards. I like courtyards. Sitting on the street in front of a place in a makeshift shack, breathing car fumes.
Right.
I don't love it. So, but go ahead, City Girl.
Yeah, I feel like that is part of how it affects one's feeling about the rules. I also never like to sit on the street by the cars and people walking by looking at your food. But during the time that it went to its peak,
Yes.
I felt good for the restaurants that
Absolutely.
some of them were making double the money, and I love that. I loved
needed to,
seeing them, busy and filled with people, and it was very heartwarming.
Yeah.
But
I also don't like, things I don't want walking by me while I'm eating.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you there. That's why, like, the main place I have always wanted to go was the shout out to our sponsor, the Beer and Cheese Collective. I always loved hanging out in their backyard, and I always felt a little uncomfortable. Well, also, there was also the whole thing about it when I was just talking to someone the other day about how when it first started, how like, it was like our first venture into that, and so I'm like, when people walk past my table, should I put my mask back on? We're well beyond that, but I also feel that like. Unfortunately, a lot of restaurants have gone under because they couldn't survive all of this. But I think at some point we need to return to some sort of normalcy, and I think this is probably the time to do it. And really, those structures shouldn't be up there. They're talking about making them like more absolutely temporary shelters that can be taken down easily, and there's really no reason for them to take all that space when it's too cold for anyone to eat there.
Yeah.
So I think it's progress. I feel it's
I
progress.
I feel like it's a step in the right direction. I just, I'm always we are meant to, or a city that is not necessarily entirely meant for cars, and so I'm always looking for the balance between
Yes.
cars and public spaces for humans. So
True. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have talked so much about the cars. I just mentioned that as one thing. I don't really. I have the luxury of having a Huck. You look like you have something you need to say.
No, I was saying like car culture. It's like we live in this car culture everywhere in the States, and we also have a strong bar culture.
it's true.
And it's like the two don't really go together. We do need to have
True.
more public transportation options for the everyman, and it's
Yes.
like New York City is one where obviously you have the subway, but the rest of the Fresno here is known as like the DUI capital. It's like
Yeah.
people drive drunk. It's like a thing that is very common, and it shouldn't be that way. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. That was a downer.
Do we have any of us have a more positive note to end
Look,
this thing
I
on?
tried to
before
cut
Huck-
off the show
No,
sooner.
no,
than this.
I know we were working
did
on that.
Stop
thing
it.
is,
I
here's
know.
the thing: is like once the original Beer Venger crew gets together, it's just there's no stopping us. We just keep talking, and we're having a wonderful time. And I'm sorry we didn't take your cues there, Huck, but I'm also glad I got to spend more time with you. So
Of course, I
Yeah.
didn't pick up the uke. That's my usual cue.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if we're looking for a positive note to end on, I will say,
Please.
the reason that one should beer venge is to be with friends, and
Yeah.
it was so special, especially at this time, for all of us to get a chance to be together.
It's great, and
And
we will do it again very soon.
yeah, and I think if regardless of what
Not
you,
soon enough.
if you've gotten through your dry January, you've gotten through your, you're starting your moist February. I don't know when people do it in February because it's shorter. Except this year it's one day longer, so like
It's still shorter than all the other months. So yeah.
I know, but you're not saving that much energy. Like part of the reason that we drink is to drink with friends, and
Yes.
and it was really special to get a chance to go ahead and drink with people
It
who,
was great. Yeah.
in my history, were the people who sort of introduced me to what bar culture means and craft beer culture means. And it
Yeah.
had been too long, and clearly we need to make sure that we do it again real soon.
100%.
It was good for the soul.
Yes, it was
Yes.
good for the soul.
All right, that's a wonderful note to end on. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for coming back for another episode of Cider Girl. And
Of course.
By the way, Cider Girl, come back
Yeah.
anytime.
Oh,
come
thanks.
back
Yeah.
anytime. Yeah. All right, Huck, play us out.
With a beer, Vengers, beer, Vengers, beer, Vengers. With a beer, Vengers, with a beer, Vengers, beer, Vengers, beer, Vengers.
Weather Avengers.
Are we?
I'm pretty sure.